Hey guys, it's Mark from North 7 Outdoors. Welcome back to another episode. Third time's the charm. Hopefully this video goes well. So welcome to a new series we're doing, which is building my dream boat. So it's not going to be a boat tour. Next video will be a boat tour, but we're just going to discuss why I bought this boat, and maybe you can learn something about buying a boat, because here's the thing, here's my little rant for the day. I'm not the best fisherman in the world. I don't have the skill set to fish the Elite Series or bring in 20 pounds consistently, or even realistically most times almost never. But where I lack at fishing skills, I am one of the best in the world at buying high-end bass fishing tackle cheap. You know, I don't know why that's my superpower. I wish it, I could bring in 20-pound bags all the time. I can't, but I always seem to find the deals that everyone misses. So let's talk about why I bought my boat, and maybe you can learn something from it. Alright, so originally I always told myself with my aluminum boat, the aluminum Ranger, that there's no point of upgrading to an 18-19 foot boat with a 150, 175 on the back, because I fished enough tournaments, I've seen those boats side to side with my boats. I can't really see the difference between 6 inches wider and a foot longer. I just can't. So for me, there's zero point of having that step in the fishing world. I always told myself I was going to bypass and go as big as I can, or I won't upgrade. And originally I wasn't thinking about buying a boat. I was thinking about, I'm going to upgrade a motor. And I came very close to a motor. I told Harris Boatworks on Rice Lake, I was like, you know what? If your deal doesn't go up and it falls through, I'll buy your 2017 60 horsepower Mercury 4-stroke, just to repower my old boat. And that was a very good deal. It was like $7,000 or something. And turned out that the deal went through. The guy picked it up, and I was like, okay. So now I started thinking about how much money am I spending on an outboard here realistically. I'm like, okay, I'm going to spend at least $8,000 on an outboard plus tax. We're looking at, like, it's somewhere between $8,000 and $10,000 is what I'm spending on an outboard. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I can sell my old outboard for like $3,000 or something, $2,500, get it out of here. So I'm like, alright, so I'm going to be into this for 8 to 10, repowering the outboard minus the $2,500, $3,000. So I'm going to be into it between $5,000 and $7,000 once I sell my outboard. And that was probably going to be the route I was going to go with. However, I'm always wheeling and dealing. I always see, what's available. And there was a 2006 Stratus, and with a 225 E-Tech on it. The guy wanted, like, I don't know, 20,000 bucks for it. I'm like, holy Canadian, so take a third off of everything here if you're American, because this is just practical knowledge anyone can use. So you want 20 grand for the 2006. But here's a piece of advice, and this is, if you're going to take one thing away from this video about how to not get killed, the seller is selling you a boat, and he's selling you a story. If you do not believe the story, do not buy the boat. So basically, the 2006 Stratus, the guy was like, and I never visited the guy. It could be legitimate. It probably was, but it didn't make sense, so I didn't make a deal. The guy was selling this 2006 Stratus for his friend. His friend couldn't find, like, the ownership of the trailer or anything. His friend, like, was on vacation, and I'm like, well, hold on a second here. Let's think about this for a second. Mark, would you ever let someone sell your bass boat for you, a good friend of yours? No, I can't say I would ever do that. That doesn't make any damn sense. That's a lot of money. I'm not going to trust a close friend to deal with that. If something happened, I wouldn't want to blame my friend over it. I would never let someone else sell my boat in a million years. So that just didn't make sense, so we couldn't make a deal. Next up, we had this boat, the one that we ended up buying. So this is a 2008 Procraft, 210, Super 210. So it's a 21-foot fiberglass, so it's as big as boat as they make, pretty much. Huge front deck on this thing, and basically the guy's like, I want 19 grand for it. I'm like, 19 grand? I'm like, oh, that's a good deal. He's not too far away. He's just in the Kawarthas. And I'm like, okay, question. Do you have ownership, paperwork, outboard on the back, the decals on it? Doesn't match something that came out in 2008. Doesn't look like a 2008 outboard. He comes back to me and he's like, look, it's 2008 Procraft. The outboard is a 2001 with a rebuilt powerhead. I'm like, oh, man. And he's like, look, so I'm telling him what I need. I'm like, look, basically I've got a Talon, I've got live scope, I've got stuff that I want. I'm just run out of space. And we look at my video for Dog Lake tournament, which I liked it. It was a pretty good video. Big bass tournament. You'll see my boat's just freaking littered with crap. And I throw everything in here, and it's like hot lava, and I'm at the deck there, and I've got rods and containers everywhere, and I've got like a 2-foot square area that I can move without breaking something or stepping on something. I just ran out of space on that boat, basically, is what it comes down to. So I'm like, oh man, 2001 outboard. The guy's like, look, if you don't want the outboard, I'll take 5 grand off, and I was going to repost over $17,000 Canadian. I'll do 12,000 bucks without the outboard. I'm like, okay, yeah. You know, I'm thinking to myself, all right, I'll put a 250 Yamaha. And that was the other thing about buying a 21-foot boat, is I didn't want to get stuck with a boat with a max rating of 225, because here's the thing, you know, outboards like that, they're like $30,000 Canadian. Again, just take off the third if you're American for everything I say here. If I get stuck in a bind where I'm looking for an outboard, I want to have options here. I don't care if I have a 225 or a 250. Theoretically, I don't care if I go 60 miles, 50 miles, or 75 miles an hour. I don't care. I just want something that's dependable, and I want something that's a good deal. And if the outboard blows something and I needed to find a new outboard, I want to have the options of a 225 or 250. I've just doubled my options of what outboard I can buy. So that's key to looking down the road. So again, went up, talked to the guy. He's like, you know what, I bought this boat. The guy had blown the outboard, and I bought it without an outboard. I was like, okay. And he's like, I had a friend out in Barrie, and he's like, he rebuilds them, so I had him rebuild me one. Bought it. It's got a few hours on it. I've got to sell this boat because my wife doesn't like it not having a dual console. I'm like, oh man, damn, that sucks. I would never, I'd get divorced over that one. I'm like, holy moly. That was a mistake. Don't sell your boat. Anyways, so the story makes sense to me. So I'm talking to the guy makes sense. I believe what he says. So he's like, look, I'm out of here in a half hour. I gotta go. But if you want on the water, we can go on a quick test drive. So we went flying down the lake. We idled around for a bit. The outboard was running fine. So originally I was 90% against the outboard. However, once idling all that, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, for 5 grand, I was like, if I blow the power head on this thing again, or if I blow the lower end here, I mean, I can friggin' sell this thing for parts for like 2,500 or 3 grand. So I'm like, really, I'm kind of playing with house money when it comes to like bigger bass boats like this. So I'm like, all right, you know what, let's just roll the dice on it for 5 grand. You know, that's a little more than parts money right now with the COVID markup. So, you know, we're still dealing with the COVID fallout here, and everyone is. Boat prices have gone crazy. So I've got 2018 hull, which is really what I care about. The biggest boat I can get my hands on, largely without being crazy customized. So here's the other thing about buying a boat. So this is a Procraft. So why I went with the Procraft is you've got 3 brands that I would consider decent that don't make boats anymore. You've got your Champion, which is number 1, your Straz, which is number 2, and your Procraft, which is probably a distant third. Some people love the ride. Some people just are like, look, too much water comes over the back, and you know, it's a wet ride. And fair enough. If that's the only complaint, that it doesn't ride as nice as other boats, I don't really care. It seemed fine to me. I don't really care about other boats. I don't care if I get wet. I mean, I'm not out there bass fishing in November. I'm out there from June to the end of September, early October. I mean, I don't really care if I get a little wet. It ain't gonna hurt me. I'm young. I don't care if the ride is crazy comfortable. I care about getting the best deal I can possibly get. And those 3 brands I feel like you can kind of get a good deal on because they're discontinued. So a lot of people might be like, oh my god, like why would that brand, they don't even make that brand anymore. This is actually, technically this is Nitro. This is a Nitro made by Nitro Marine or Tracker Marine there. They bought them out and probably produced a couple in 2008 and 2009, and I think they killed the brand. So anyways, there we go. That's why I bought this boat, and basically this is a series here. So the next video we're going to actually do a walkthrough on it. Now that you know why I bought the boat, and sorry, here's the other part I'm missing here. I figure I can probably get 10 grand for my other boat with the Ultrex, Canadian, so take a third off there. I mean, Ultrexes right now, I mean, used are like 4 grand, so I'm like, okay, so throw in a 9-inch Garmin fish finder, the Ultrex, I'm like, there's freaking, you know, $4,000, sell the actual boat, trailer and motor for 6 grand Canadian. I mean, you know, I figured 10,000 bucks or at least 9 is more than fair to get it out of here as soon as possible with the COVID markup. So now I'm only out $8,000 as opposed to being out $5,000 getting a new outboard. However, I also have to keep in mind that I didn't get a new outboard, so I still have a freaking 21-year-old outboard with a rebuilt power head. That's a gamble you take. So I'm hoping to get 2 years out of it, and I'll probably just switch it. But basically, in this series, we are going to build the highest end bass boat that you can build for $25,000 Canadian is what we're budgeting. And I'm going to take the Talon off the Ranger, and I'm going to take the Live Scope off the Ranger, and I'll leave the Ultrex because I don't think an 80-pound thrust is probably going to move this boat as well as it moved the Ranger. So I think I'll jump up to the 36-volt trolling motor. And basically the plan is to build, you know, a first tier 1 bass boat for pennies on the dollar, and let's see if we can get it done. And we're gonna do videos here where we talk about like how much I paid for something and why I bought it. So next up we'll actually do the boat tour. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You know, there are good deals out there. You have to jump on them. You know, I didn't bring the money with me for this boat because it's too much money. I'm like, you can kill me, but you're not going to take my money. I didn't want to bring 17 grand with me or 12 grand with me and take it home that day. So the guy, you know, I was like, let's buy it I'll buy it next weekend. You know, it's sold, consider it sold. And the guy's like, I don't really want to wait a week. And then he ran over his phone. And I'm like, he ghosted me. He's not going to sell it to me. And he's like, it turns out I ran over my phone. Sorry, I haven't been touching in a couple days. End up buying it on the Thursday, so I've had it for about a week now. Gotta sell my old boat, pay off some of this boat, and this is probably gonna be the forever boat. You know, if I run out of space on this boat, I mean, I've got some hoarder issue problems going on here. But yeah, so that's why I bought the boat. So I mean, you know, that's the eternal struggle for a lot of people. Do you repower your boat or do you buy a new one? I jumped on a new one. I figured, you know, the Ranger is a fine enough boat, but it's not a forever boat. In the back of my mind, I always knew I was going to have to upgrade from it. So I took my shot, went with a 7-year newer boat. Got a great deal on a procraft. It might be considered like an off-brand kind of, but you know, we'll talk about that in our walkthrough. So thank you guys for watching. I hope that helped you just for, you know, thinking about things through about why I purchased a new boat as opposed to repowering and why it made sense to do it. But I'm gonna build the best boat I can for 25 grand Canadian during COVID. So so stay tuned for the walkthrough. Thank you guys for watching and take care.